Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is accused of lawsuit by R&B singer Cassie, claims that she was in a years-long relationship with Combs that also involved beatings.
According to the lawsuit, the abuse started when Cassie was 19 years old and Combs allegedly lured her into a professional and sexual relationship. The lawsuit also alleges that he plied Ventura with drugs and alcohol, causing her to fall into dangerous addictions that controlled her life. An attorney for Combs denied the allegations, saying in part, he vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations.
Bad boy, come out and play. I know we had to do a remix, right?
Family, what it do? It's your girl Tamika and I am back, Jack.
In the midst of all of the alleged sexual allegations made against Sean P. Diddy Combs, there's one rumor that has been surrounding P. Diddy for years. Over the decades, we've seen P. Diddy work with some of our greatest artists. Artists like Notorious Big, Faith Evans, Lil' Kim, Junior Mafia, The Lox, Mace, Loon, Day 26, Danny Kane, Shine, Carl Thomas, Total. The list goes on and on. That's why a lot of people found it fascinating when he said that he was going to give all of his artists that was under the Bad Boy umbrella their publishing back. But when I listened to it, it just didn't sound right. Here's a better explanation. Let's look.
Puff Daddy gave the publishing back. Whoop-de-doo. What's it worth? What was it worth 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and what's it worth now? What did he give you back? I'm telling you, he gave me mine back a long time ago. I was the first person he called and he said, Mark, I want you to be the first person that know this. I'm giving all my artists back their publishing, which is equivalent, like a spider went in and sucked all of the insides out of it and then give it back. That's disrespectful. I told her, why don't you just keep it and pay me? I don't want the publishing, I want the money. Come on, y'all think he doing a good thing because he give back some publishing? Come on, man. It's not worth anything. And then he don't have the Ciroc or the DeLeon, and then he gonna give $1 million to Jackson State like he doing some humanitarian type thing. He just trying to do whatever he can to keep his name relevant so he can go for a new deal because he don't really have nothing that's making him no money right now. He's not even a billionaire no more, so let's talk.
Craig Mack and Biggie Smalls were the first rollout artists after Sean P. Diddy Combs left Uptown Records. The thing that is so crazy is Craig Mack had one of the biggest waves. But after he chose not to work with Diddy anymore, he found himself being blackballed. In his interview, he explains.
I got with somebody, you know what I'm saying, I'm not going to say their names, I'm just going to say somebody that wanted to do another album with me. So I said, cool, I gave him my price, and the price was, to me, was low. You know, and they were supposed to give me the money. And I go in the studio and I start banging out. So he came to me and was like, yo, I can only cut you a third of the money I'm supposed to give you. I said, you know what, man, I want to do these songs. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to do this and that, the third, let's do it. You give me the money as we go. You know what I'm saying? I'll take a third again. I'll take a third again when we finish the actual recording of the album. Nothing happened. No money. So I stopped recording. I said, I'm not going to be an idiot and sit here and do all this stuff for everybody, and I'm not going to see anything from it. You know, next thing I know, money come, you know, with this bullish mafia mentality with him and his goons and all that stuff like that. You know, talking about, yo, you know, you owe us an album. And I'm like, excuse me, my friends, but I don't owe you shit. You owe me money. You know what I'm saying? So if you can come up with the rest of this dough, then we can come up with the rest of the album. No dough, no records. That's it. I don't think you know what you mean when you're saying that, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what type of dude I am. You know what kind of muscle I got. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you need to be in the studio. So I said, all right, meet me up there at 7 o'clock. And I went and got one of my gunmen. My man, I'm not going to mention his name either. He came with me up there. Okay? And they saw him, and they fell back. Because they was going to do something to me. But they didn't. So We talked about it, you know, came to definite, look, no cash, no record. I'm not gonna be sitting here going in the studio all night, every night, busting my ass, and I ain't seeing nothing from it. And you're making me feel like, even if you did have the rest of that cash, us taking it to the next level is gonna be a problem, because it's gonna be money problems. I can see it already.
The Notorious Big, aka Biggie Smalls, was probably one of the most lucrative artists under the Bad Boy umbrella. It was said that he was getting ready to depart from Bad Boy, but before he could do so, he met his demise.
Big learned the game. Big seen how, through his management, Puff was robbing him and had robbed him out of his publishing and his marketing. Puff seen how Big learned how to put his publishing in other people's name to stop him from getting the money that he was owed. But Big had to play the game because Big wanted to get his publishing back and his marketing that he had sold out to Puff. So you gotta be cordial, you gotta play the game, but you gotta look at the business of it.
Lil' Kim was another artist that seemed like she rode so hard for P. Diddy, especially after Notorious Big died. But when Lil' Kim went to jail, she had this to say about P. Diddy, and it was kind of heartbreaking, to be honest.
I rode with Puffy to the bitter end, and still would have rode with him. Puffy never came to see me in prison, not one time. He didn't write me a letter. He didn't say, here's a number for Kim to call. Not one time. After all the history that we had, not one time. Spend some time away. But just the fact that he didn't even try to, you know what I mean, like reach out or, you know, make sure that I was good or just see my face.
Black Rob was most definitely responsible for bringing some of the sauce back to Bad Boy. When he dropped his single, Whoa, he had all of New York, hell, he had all of the world going crazy. The thing that is so ironic, though, a lot of the artists that Diddy had, they always kind of considered themselves to be family. Everybody except for Diddy.
Oh, man. I mean, I've been dealing with this man for 5 years. Damn. 4 strokes. Man, I don't know what to tell you, man. This shit is crazy. This shit is hard, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't got no house to live in. Except probably, man, a apartment, man, for me and my man be trying to get together, man. I'm telling you, man, this shit is strange. It's hard, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the people are going to do, but the people are going to say.
The group Total was another group of Diddies that was caught up in the financial debacle. Over the years, it was saying that they never amassed anything. Another person that always felt very free to speak out was Mace. Mace went back to church, came back again, went back to church. I guess that's what happened when you deal with Diddy. This is what Mace had to say when he had an interview.
You're not paying me and you're not respecting me. And that's the real problem.
All right.
And that's just the beginning.
All right,
then there's people that try to do bodily harm with me. They will be in the house with Puff. So I'm like, it's a funny game y'all playing behind the scenes. So when people see me, they just see me turned up. They just see me agitated. They just see me aggressive, but they don't know why. So if somebody, let's just say we run down on Gilly car, if we got guns or whatever, where we got them, and we trap Gilly, and then the next week you see Wallow with me at your house, how are you gonna feel?
Yeah, I'm snapping out.
You tweaking, right? So now my head is bugging, like what's really going on?
Puffy would recruit artists that sound like other artists so other projects could be finished. He did that with Loon once Mace left the Bad Boy camp. You might also find a very familiarity between Sean and Biggie Smalls. It was said that Biggie had some unrecorded music that would needed to be finished. And just because Sean sounded like him he went ahead and recruited Shine. Something is really, really bad going on in the bad boy camp. I remember when Carl Thomas was signed. With a voice that heavenly, there's just no way that he shouldn't have been a bigger artist than he was. The Lock, Styles P, had this to say on the interview.
Why don't we stop talking on the radio?
Now, you want people to stop talking because you just don't want to know the truth, dog. We made one record with you. Money, Power, Respect. It's 10 years later, and you still got half of our publishing. Now, there's no way you can make it justifiable that you should, you deserve. Don't try to confuse the listeners in the streets to think it's that simple, because he's going to give you the runaround like he's been for the past 10 years. We've been trying to get our publishing the past 10 years, so don't try to act like we bugging out of nowhere. We've been through 7 lawyers and all kind of things. So, but be for real, we did one album with you.
Do you remember the moment you decided you needed to leave Bad Boy to move on to the next chapter?
It was probably after the argument with Diddy, when Styles threw the chair at Puff. You know what I mean? I ain't sure, but that was probably the last straw for that. But prior to that, we was, it was conversations amongst the group and things like that, things of that nature.
I'm pretty sure you remember the group making the band and the infamous cheesecake walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. While a lot of people feel like it was very humiliating and it was a humiliation act or tactic, Freddie P had this to say. Let's take a look.
My hate for Diddy came when Sarah called one day. We was going to do a reunion. This was like maybe like 6-7 years. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. Mm-hmm. But a couple years ago, and she said, "Yo," she sent the contracts in the group chat of how much he made. This nigga made over $43 million on the second season alone. I was like, what the fuck out of here?
The thing about it is, Freddie P has been speaking out for years, but nobody just chose to listen. When you're dealing with a mogul like Sean Combs, you'll be surprised how many yes men that he actually have. When it came down to how much money they were making, Freddie P had this to say.
Now, if you can, you said he made $43 million. That's what you observed on the group text. How much did you get personally that year, if you can remember?
Man, I can tell you this much. That nigga never bust 500,000 down with the whole group. And it's 6 of us. All them niggas. Niggas was making more money. Niggas was telling us we had promo shows and they was getting paid from it. You get what I'm saying? They got us flying around the city. They getting paid off for telling us we got promo and they getting paid from it. And they was booking shows for like 70, 80 bands, breaking down 20 bands with 6 people and shit, keeping the rest. It was just a lot of, and they did that shit more than once.
After the group, the band, then you had Danny D. Kane. And guess what? There was another group that got lost in the sauce. From the beginning, though, there was always one artist that was a little rebellious. Aubrey. She always spoke out about some of the bad business dealing with Bad Boy Records. She never shied away from it. In this interview, she talks a little bit about some of their practices. Let's listen.
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas.
And were other girls doing?
I was the only one that was in those types of positions.
Wow.
Day 26 was another male group that Diddy had molded and put up under his wing. I was really surprised that they did not garner the success that they deserve. These boys could really blow. Willie had took to Instagram one time and said, learning experience. You got to understand that people will do whatever you allow them to. So don't let your passion drive you to the wrong destination. He said that his group and Danny D. Kane were talented groups, but the situation in which they met, that they were all destined and designed to fail. It's crazy though, because when you look at all of the artists that was mentioned in this video, not one of them had a secure financial future. And a lot of people gonna say, well, maybe some of the groups should have read their contracts. I can understand that. Or maybe the person that you put your trust in should just do better business. I want to know how y'all feel. Drop it down in the comments section. Do you think Diddy is just getting his karma? Do you think it's a karma that's well deserved? Drop it down below. And until next video, I'm going to catch y'all, dog. Peace.